Realtor.org. Excuse the hoarseness in my throat. We're still going to go live today no matter what I sound like. I don't care. It's been a long time since I've done an update video here in Lahaina town for no reason other than rubbing salt in the wound is never a good thing. But I think it's necessary. I think it's time. We all take a hard look at what this town looks like 647 days after the fire. And I'm going to give you the full tour. So this is a live stream video. I'm just going to go around and show you everything I can see until I run out of battery. This isn't pre-recorded. There's no script. I'm just going to show you what this town looks like. And the purpose of this video is very simple. It's twofold. Number one is to bring awareness. There's other places that have burned in the country. So this could be a little crystal ball so you can see what your community might look like almost 2 years later. So the purpose is to bring awareness. And there's no question, this channel has been shadow banned, like there's no question. So if you want to help bring awareness, I think one of the ways you could do that if you want is in the comments section. Just answer the question, is this reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time? Yes or no? That's going to be the theme of this video. Based on what I'm going to show you, is this reasonable progress in a reasonable amount of time? Yes or no in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. We got to wake up the algorithm, even though it probably won't work because this channel has been, you know, whatever. If you want to see very neutral, non-effective messages, there's other YouTubers that are just showing things in a certain light that YouTube likes better, which is fine. But I'm going to show you reality, and I just want to know in the comments, is this reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time? Yes or no? And the second purpose of this video is to bring attention and awareness to one of the fire survivors, a gentleman named Daniel. There'll be a link in the description, helpdaniel.org. He's a fire survivor and he's blind and he's getting ready to lose his FEMA house. A lot of people have lost their FEMA house, their home, or whatever that FEMA was providing. Many of them have been relocated into other housing, which is great. But Daniel's housing situation is still very precarious. It could get canceled at any time. So he's a great guy. And if you do anything after you watch this video, please go to helpdaniel.org. Without any further ado, let's get started and check out the forgotten town of Lahaina, 647 days after the fire. So where am I at right now? I'm right in front of what used to be Foodland. And as you can see, it is still shut down. Now you can see a little bit of remnant of fire damage there, but the structure itself did not burn. I do have my little buddy here, my one wheel, so we're going to be able to cruise around and I can show you stuff. But what I can tell you is that there is not a single home that's been rebuilt on the ocean front, and there's not a single commercial business that has been rebuilt. This is the McDonald's over here, just to give yourself some orientation if you're familiar with Lahaina town. This is the McDonald's. It did not burn. This is a strip mall, essentially. There used to be a yogurt shop there a long time ago. The bank, American Savings Bank right here. This was a Starbucks at one point, then it became the Coffee Bean. This is the theater. If you remember, Elvis Presley used to, you know, the impersonator. The Maui Theater is right here. And this is, I think there was a dentist here, American Savings, the U.S. Postal Service, the post office was right there, and Longy's was right there. This is the north end of the commercial part of Front Street. You can see some guys fishing. And that's where Bubba Gump's Shrimp would have been, just to the south of where those guys are fishing, Bubba Gump's. And obviously there's no homes, there's no buildings been rebuilt on Front Street. Now I can't go down Front Street, it's still shut down. I'm technically not even really supposed to be in this parking lot, I don't think. But I wanted to get as close as I could comfortably to that part of Front Street so I could show you what that looks like. And we're gonna go through most of Lahaina town. Now, what we're looking at up there is Lahaina Luna. A good number of those homes obviously burned. And there is some construction happening up there. And the other neighborhood is called Wahikuli, that's across from the highway. And there are some homes that are being rebuilt up there. So the majority of the homes that are being rebuilt are on the mountain, or as we say here in Hawaii, the Mauka side of the highway. Of course, Lahaina town itself is on the ocean side of the highway, historic Lahaina town, and that's where I am right now. So we're just going to cruise around. If you're familiar with Lahaina, I'm going to try to give you some landmarks. It's a lot more difficult now because the buildings are sort of like landmarks. If you remember, there was a bar over here. This is this was the testing center. They did some blood testing work here. I can't remember. It's all kind of fading. Across the street is where the hardware store used to be. Of course moved before the fire, thankfully. Ace Hardware used to be right there. And you can drive through Lahaina, except on Front Street in the commercial portion. That you cannot drive. Again, if you're just joining the live, the call to action today, if I may be so bold, is in the comment section. Based on what you see on this live or this video, if you're watching the post recording, is would you consider this reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time? Here we are on the corner of Lahaina Luna Road and Waine'i Street. We'll get down here as close as we can to Front Street. I think that used to be a tattoo shop, pretty sure. Again, memories are fading, you know, I just don't remember what all was right in this spot right here. I think there was a restaurant right there. And of course, the one building that is standing over there that you can see off in the distance, that is where the restaurant Fleetwood's was located. Now, it's not owned by Mick Fleetwood, he rented it, but I believe the owners were able to salvage that from being knocked down, because many places were knocked down even though they were still standing after the fire, and most of the trees were removed as well. So this would be Lahaina Luna Road and Front Street. As you can see, no commercial buildings are even close to starting construction whatsoever. So we'll continue to go down. And thank you so much for going to helpdaniel.org. The link is in the description of the video. He's a fire survivor. He's completely blind, about to potentially lose his FEMA house, and we're trying to raise some funds to help keep him afloat. So please visit helpdaniel.org. And thank you, Daniel, for being such an amazing human being. So here we are, the back end of Fleetwood's. You still see some of the burn damage on there. Over there in the distance, you can see the roof of Maria Laniakea Church. That's the Catholic church that survived. They are doing Mass again, I heard, daily Mass, weekend Mass. Again, this is Front Street right here. I believe that's the historic Baldwin house right there that hopefully will be restored. Ooh. This is the communications. I believe this is one of the communication buildings. Beautiful West Maui Mountains towering off in the distance. No question, one of the most stunning, beautiful locations on planet Earth. Ainanalu is the condominium complex that was right next to Maria Lahaina. The lot is right there, and you'll see that absolutely no progress has been made on the rebuild of Ainanalu. Maui Gym corporate office was located right there, as was Fidelity, National Title, my escrow company, and the Beehive. One of my clients had a business right there. Here's a street I've never really gone down before, but believe it or not, right next to the Catholic Church, there were some homes. These were homeowners down here as well. Let's see if they've had any success in rebuilding their home. Any signs of construction? I almost actually listed this house back here a number of years ago. If you remember, they had a bunch of VW vans in the backyard. He had quite the little business going, renting out these vans to people. But you can see nothing's going on there. Of course, right across from there is the Catholic school. Interesting factoid is King Kamehameha III, the elementary school, has a temporary place now up in Napili. And I don't know how many millions of dollars have been spent, but it's a temporary location and it will all be torn down. And the landowner is getting paid a lot of money to allow the temporary buildings to be there. I believe the Catholic Church is operational somewhere. I think they're up in Kapalua now, but it doesn't look like a whole lot of construction happening. Obviously the church, I think they put a new roof on, but it was unscathed in the fire. And there's Father Damien, the statue anyway. A saint, amazing priest who helped the people of the Hansen's disease, also known as leprosy, over on the island of Molokai. And Sister Marianne Cope, who also was sainted, I believe. Before her and the nuns stepped foot on the island of Molokai, she proclaimed that none of her sisters would die of the disease, and none of them ever did. Unfortunately, Father Damien did die of leprosy. Amazing man of God, for sure. Okay, so this is where we came from. As you can see, this is still blockaded. So the area I came from I didn't realize it totally, but I was behind the blockade. So you still cannot go down into the Front Street area whatsoever. You can see that's the flag over by the harbor. Again, if you're just joining the live stream, thank you. The forgotten town of Lahaina, 647 days after the fire. If you believe this is reasonable progress in a reasonable time, in the comment section, please say yes or no. The more comments we get, the more the algorithm has to pay attention, and maybe somebody with some power can send some people over here to make the change we need to see to get the permits pulled so the business owners can open up their businesses, they can rebuild, they can get back to work. I know I have friends that own businesses on Front Street, and let me tell you what, the financial strangulation is unbelievable. The government's got all the time. We know they've got all the money. So they're in no hurry, right? Of course not. But meanwhile, the business owners are dying. So if you think that the government needs to speed things up a little bit, let us know. Your opinion counts. Your sharing of this video matters, bringing awareness to the forgotten town of Lahaina. Again, if you think this is reasonable progress in a reasonable amount of time, just say yes or no. It's your opinion, it's not mine. I haven't shared my opinion yet. I'm just showing you, street by street, one wheel roll at a time, what Lahaina town proper looks like 647 days after the fire. Again, building permits have been issued, most of them on the Mauka mountainside of the highway. I am on the Makai side of the highway, the ocean side of the highway. This is Lahaina town. The other neighborhoods would be considered residential neighborhoods, Lahaina Luna, Wahikuli. But this is Lahaina. This is Lahaina town. This is the historic town of Lahaina. Do you think reasonable progress has been made in a reasonable period of time? Is this the best for Maui's people? For the citizens of this island, for the citizens of our country, of our state, of the world, is this reasonable progress in a reasonable amount of time? If you owned a business on Front Street and that was your livelihood, and you still have a mortgage to pay, how would you feel? It just boggles the mind in so many ways. I would also think there would be an official investigation happening to assign some responsibility to the events of August 8th, 2023, 808. But do you think that's going to happen? The Seventh-day Adventist Church unscathed? I'm not sure if this house was just rebuilt or if it was just repainted. I honestly don't know. Coming up on the historic prison right here. Thank you so much if you're just joining the live to click on through in the description to helpdaniel.org. He is a fire survivor and he is totally blind. This is a great house right here. We almost rented this house a long time ago. I love this house. Big old wraparound porch. It's a nice family house. Well, here we go. Is this maybe the first new construction we've seen? Possibly. I'm counting one. There's another one back there, two. Let's get a count going of how many homes we see going up here in Lahaina town. I think those are the first two. Again, if you find content like this disturbing, please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to bring awareness. This is Maui Medical. This is where my doctor used to be. I wouldn't even have known it just going down the street because I don't have any of the visual cues. Prison Street Pizza would have been right here. Still can't go in. Cam 3, the elementary school right there. Yeah, for some reason YouTube didn't really care for the way I was presenting. Because all of a sudden, my videos weren't showing up anymore in the search. They prefer more of a neutral, innocuous message without any implication of wrongdoing. Everything's just honky-dory. That's what they prefer, I think. These are all homes in here that burned. Okay, I think there's a third house right there. Again, in the comments, is this reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time? And I'd like to re-emphasize, absolutely not a single permit has been issued on the ocean, and no businesses, no commercial permits to rebuild businesses. Meanwhile, you have organizations like Lahaina Strong trying to oppose the rebuild of oceanfront homes because They think that the pools are going to take up too much water. Ironically, a lawn will take up more water than a pool over time. So there's a wonderful organization, Samaritan's Purse. They've done some amazing things here on Maui, helping with the cleanup. And now they're rebuilding, I heard, 40 homes. There's the Church of Waiola, 1823. I think it burned a couple times before, so hopefully it will be back again. There's the cemetery. But yeah, this is the Baptist church right here. They also are the ones that did the food distribution. If you remember my food line videos, people were lined up here during COVID, hundreds of cars deep to pick up food. So excellent. Lahaina Baptist Church. Another rebuild there. Or is that the one that we saw from the other side, maybe? So here we are in Shaw Street. That's 160 Shaw Street we just passed. You can see Lahaina Shores looming in the distance there. Congratulations to Colton, my son. Licensed realtor, closed a deal in there recently. Really good deal on a Mountain View condo, about half price. This is where Keith, Salvation Army, used to be. I don't know if you remember that building, or Keith with the parrot. Aloha and rest in peace to you, Keith. It's the 505 parking lot. You can see some surfers getting ready to go out maybe. They got the truck with the surfboards anyway. And then this is the 505, what's left of the 505 building. Aloha, American Patriot. Thank you for your contribution. That'll be going straight to Blind Daniel. Thanks for also visiting Blind Daniel. Helpdaniel.org, helpdaniel.org. This is Lahaina Shores Beach Resort, rumored to be opening up here sometime this summer. I sure hope they do. Now we are on Front Street. This is the southern end of Front Street, the residential portion, if you will. You're going to start to see, I think, one home right there, I think on Front Street, not the ocean side, of course, is actually under construction. But these are all homes, or were all homes right in here. The Shark Pit neighborhood's back in there, we'll take a look at. This is a nice new oceanfront home that did not burn, 465, and the one next to it did not burn. So all these homes you're seeing on the ocean side didn't, this one did, 455 burned. But this large one here did not burn. So these homes on the ocean, they were there before and there. So this is a new construction. This is the first one. I heard they had a expedited permit for some reason. I don't know why. I think that's the first house I saw go up on Front Street itself. But again, nothing on the ocean. 429 did not burn. And this modern looking home was just recently built, but before the fire, it did not burn. So again, in the comments, your call to action is, do you consider this reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time? So this is a new constructed home. That one's really gone up fast. That one right there. This was a cute little green plantation home. It was on the market a few years ago. I showed it a few times. Had a big, huge tree in the front. This was that big white house, the big white wall around it. This is a plantation home, didn't burn. Miraculously, hard to believe, huh? Single wall construction. Probably built in the early 1950s, unscathed. I'll never understand that. So if you're just joining the live, we're on the south end of Front Street in Lahaina town. The ocean is just over here. These are all oceanfront homes and lots over here. And no oceanfront permits have been issued whatsoever. This is actually the first home I lived in when I moved to Maui, 350 Front Street. Had 2 ohanas on each side. And the main house was right there, and where that fence is the pool. So I got lots of great memories. Huge mango trees. The mango trees didn't burn, but the county or FEMA or whoever still cut down all the mango trees. This is what we called the tsunami house, because it was made of all concrete. It also did not burn, but the owner told me that they still chipped the whole thing and tore it down even though it was unscathed after the fire because it's made of concrete. But they still took his house down without his permission. Crazy, right? This is Longy's home, if you know the restaurant, Longy's. Here's another one being built, another one over there, another one over there. So we are seeing some homes going up, which is very encouraging. But again, the question for you in the comments is, do you consider this, almost 2 years after the fire, reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time? Yes or no in the comments, please. Yes or no, reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time. Because if you comment, maybe the algorithm will suspend my shadow ban for just a brief moment. If you share it on X, share it on Facebook, maybe we'll get some attention back again. This is the famous red roof house, if you remember. They just bought it, these folks, nice folks. It didn't burn. Everything else around it did, but the quintessential red roof house. Inexplicable. Miracle. Cute, huh? It was on the market a while ago. I showed it. Look at that. Didn't sell it, though. Didn't sell it. And over here, believe it or not, oh, not this one. See, it's hard to recognize where stuff is. This home down here, oceanfront home, beautiful plantation style house, historic. I used to rent the lanai for a case of beer a week from a guy named Bobby. And I used to spend every day out there working on that lanai. And then I'd leave at 5. And I would deposit my case of beer in the refrigerator every week, and it was a good deal. Love that spot. The amazing thing about living on the ocean is it could be unbearably hot. But when you're right there on that lanai, no air conditioning, you're still just as comfortable as can be. Okay, here we are. This is Puamana. These are some of the oceanfront homes that burned in Puamana, the gated neighborhood. Beautiful Puamana. Unfortunately, the clubhouse burned. They just took down the big glorious tree that was next to the clubhouse. Do you see any new construction in there yet? Maybe there is, I just don't see any. Just orientate yourself, that's the highway right there. And this would be the south entrance to Front Street. And there's the gate going into Puamana. And we'll just pop into Puapihi Street here. This would be right next to the Shark Put neighborhood. If you guys remember Ken, he was on my channel. We interviewed him. He lived right up there. He's a Coast Guard captain. And we had to take his video down because he mentioned in the video something about dead bodies being found by the Coast Guard. And we had to remove his video. Attorneys, legal department of the Coast Guard called him up and said, hey, you can't say that, take it down the video. So unfortunately, a lot of fundraising was missed because that video, the purpose of those videos when we interviewed fire survivors was to help raise funds for them. But Ken's, and it was a tear-jerking story that he told, man, it was crazy. But we had to take it down because he mentioned something about dead bodies being recovered by the Coast Guard. Ah, good memories. Good times. Nothing like getting in the crosshairs of our government. There's a rebuild. All right. Someone keeping count here? When the video's over, maybe in the comments you can count how many newly constructed homes we've seen or are gonna roll by here on this Lahaina town tour. Again, in the comments, do you consider this reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time? Keeping in mind that absolutely not a single business has been rebuilt. And this is the full tour of Lahaina town. I'm going to take this one wheel up and down every street until the battery dies. I would love your support with a thumb up, a share, a subscribe, a comment. Yes or no, reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time. And if it's in your heart to give a little something to a Lahaina fire survivor, please visit helpdaniel.org. He is a blind fire survivor. He's supposed to be in his apartment right now on Front Street, but he's not. He's in a FEMA home that they keep threatening that he will lose it within 30 to 60 days without any solid answers. You know, poor guy. It's one thing about dealing with our bureaucracy, it's a nightmare. Now imagine doing it with a handicap like that. One of the things I was told by fire survivors is that when you're dealing with FEMA, you never get the same person twice. It's always a different person you have to talk to on the phone. So you got to start all over. And they do that by design, I think. More confusion, more pain, more suffering equals less benefits have to get paid out, because some people just say, you know what, I ain't got time for this. I have a job, or I want to keep my sanity. Okay, so now we're back on Front Street now, just so you know, and we're gonna head over to Shark Pit neighborhood. We're heading north on Front Street, excuse me. Just going back in my memory banks, remembering some of these beautiful homes. Jim Neighbors' home survived. You guys remember Jim Neighbors? Surprise, surprise, surprise. I could do that better if my voice wasn't so hoarse, but that was Jim's home right down there. You can kind of see the rooftop right there. That's Jim Neighbors' home. Of course, he sold it and someone else owns it, but Jim Neighbors' home did not burn. Chris Lassen, his homes were right here. You guys know Chris Lassen, the famous artist? I think he only owned one of those homes. He used to own both. I lived right across the street from Chris Lassen, and the first day I moved into my house there at Front Street, his garage opened up and there was a Lamborghini Countach, like the one I always had a poster of in my room growing up. And then he had the most expensive production Mercedes made. And I'm like, man, what kind of neighborhood did I move into? The neighbor has got a Countach and the most expensive Mercedes has made. And later on, I learned it was Chris Lassen. I guess he's a legend in Japan. They consider it a status symbol if you own some of his art. So here we are at Shark Pit neighborhood. Ilikahi and Kauala. Man, I'm sure I butchered that. Hey, once a haole, I was a haole, brah. Fresh off the boat. Yes, sir. Okay, so there's another construction. We're gonna see some more construction back here in Shark Pit, so that's good. I mean, if you want me to go down here, I will, but I can just tell you, I'm not seeing a whole lot going up. Are you? I see a couple sticks back in there. This is a great little neighborhood though, man. Great little neighborhood. Some of my clients had a house back in here. I was just getting ready to close on their home they had remodeled on Prison Street. That day of the fire, we were accepting an offer. And they lived back in here, and they almost died. And they lost their Prison Street home. And the saddest thing about that is they didn't have insurance on the Prison Street house, you know? And they had their life savings in there, and they did a wonderful job remodeling it. And that day it was supposed to go under contract. And then they were napping, like everybody was napping that day for some reason. And they were napping that day too. Their house is right in here somewhere, I don't know exactly. And it was only because the neighbors came over and knocked on their door to make sure that they were up. And they woke up, and they were saved. But it wasn't because there was a bunch of policemen and firemen running around evacuating with sirens, with notifications, with door knocking. No, it was just because random happen chance, a neighbor knocked on their door and woke them up, and they live now. But it certainly wasn't because of the efforts of the government. Just like everything on Maui after the fire, it was the community. It was people helping people, neighbors helping neighbors. Why the people that run this government are still in power is shocking. Because if you have such an abortion of responsibility, then by definition, we should abort the leadership and start fresh. You failed the test. Let's not tempt fate. Have it happen again. Fresh leadership. But nope, they're all still in power. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. Can't make this up. It's disheartening. So disheartening. And you're just a little island in the middle of the Pacific, and you're the bluest of the bluest states. California's little brother, you know? The politics here follow California. And we're just some little vacation spot. Who's gonna pay attention to us, right? You would think with Tulsi Gabbard around, she used to represent West Maui at the state Congress. You would think, right? You would think Trump be visiting him like the first week in office. Worst wildfire in the history of our country, first week in office, he's landing here. You would think, right? Nope. No Trump. Nothing. Radio silence. The forgotten town of Lahaina, Maui, Hawaii. You just think the white hats are going to show up, but they don't. You got bigger fish to fry, man. Not to mention, they pulled off the same fire in California, so that's all they're probably thinking about. But maybe Trump, one of his people, will see this and go, oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, we got you. We're gonna make some changes. The federal government could do some massive changes here, let me tell you. They could make you know what happen. They just gotta know about it and care about it. Do they? I don't know. Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like it. Again, in the comment section, is this reasonable progress in reasonable time? Please, just give me your answer, yes or no. Do you think this is reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time? That not a single oceanfront homeowner has been able to start rebuilding his oceanfront home. And a single business has not been able to get a permit to rebuild their business. Is that okay? Is that reasonable? I don't know, man. What's going on? Is it reasonable that the same people that were in charge during what I would say is probably the greatest abortion of emergency management services in the history of our country, still in charge, still in power? Is that okay? Is that normal? I just don't understand, man. I mean, Trump is the one that's all about, you're fired, right? You screw something up. I don't know about you, but if I screw something up bad enough on a deal, I'll get fired. My client will be like, hey, you're an idiot. I'll find somebody else. And I would like to think I'd be a man enough to be like, you know what, you're right. I suck, and I deserve it, and I need to go lick my wounds and change and become better. But the government, no. The more incompetence, the more you get promoted, because you're controllable at that point in time. If you're compromised, you're controllable. And it's that kind of insidious corruption in our country that leads to what you're seeing right now. In a little town like this, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, just some little vacation spot, like whatever. Whatever. Forgotten. Forgotten. The whole reason I made my videos in the first place was so that we would be a beacon of the right way to do things in a circumstance such as this. Like a beacon of aloha, a beacon. And in a lot of ways we were, because of the community that came together. But certainly not because of the way the government handled it. Again, reasonable progress in reasonable time, yes or no? Hey, one of the last few remaining mango trees. Look at this guy. He's gonna give them. He's gonna get them. He ain't gonna give them, but he's getting some mangoes, baby. That might be the last surviving mango tree in all of Lahaina. Those are worth a lot of money. Oh man, my mouth's watering now. Oh, yes sir. I like try. Okay, like I said, we're gonna go until the wheels fall off this one wheel, run out of battery, run out of microphone, run out of whatever. But I'm gonna try to show you every street, except the one I can't go on, which is Front Street, because it's still shut down, still forbidden fruit. Oh, we didn't go down here, or did we? Yeah, we did, never mind, sorry. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, so we are backtracking here a little bit. There's no way I could do this video and not backtrack a little bit. But we're gonna get into some fresh territory on the north side of town, Baby Beach, Kahoma Village. We are not gonna go into Lahaina Luna neighborhood or Waikuli, just because, ooh, big bump. This is all about Lahaina town. Because there's a lot of confusion, I think, about where the fire is. A lot of people think it's like all of Maui or whatever. It's just this, not just, but it's this town right here. The resorts, there's no resorts here except for Lahaina Shores and Lahaina Roads. Lahaina Roads those are just basically two little condominium complexes. All the resorts are up in Kanapali, Kapalua. They're totally unaffected. And the resorts in Kihei and Wailea and, you know, they're totally unaffected. So there's no reason somebody wouldn't want to come to Maui, because this old historic town burned in a couple of residential neighborhoods. That doesn't affect your experience here really that much at all. There are some restaurants that people would want to go to, sure, and walk around historic town, do some shopping. But ultimately, the island is suffering because, well, number one, our government, right? We're suffering at the hands of a tyrannical, authoritarian, stupid government that allows things like a potential vacation rental ban to be drifting in the wind of possibility for almost a year, utterly decimating people's spirit. And that's the whole point, right? I've had so many people say, oh, I don't know if I want to live in a place that's so unwelcoming. Well, you know what? The vast 99% of the people on Maui are welcoming. But the government and the media, they parade around the 1% that are mean and hateful. That's who they hand the microphone to. They don't hand the microphone to the 99% loving, kind, aloha-infused people. No, they give it to the 1% that are going to send a message of negativity. And that's by design. Why? I don't know. Like I said, They're stupid, or they're evil, or both. But one thing they are is effective. I mean, they're effective. Like, their tactics work. Who's ever like putting together their strategies, like, they're smart. They got it figured out. So now, because Mayor Bisson has threatened to shut down vacation rentals, now the vacation rental market is suffering. Resales are suffering. Under the guise of affordable housing, are you kidding me? You'd have to have one brain cell to think that those vacation rentals are going to somehow translate into affordable housing for locals. It's just a lie. It doesn't hold any water. But he's sure to do a great job of crashing the condo real estate market. So if you're a buyer, now's a good time. All those values were soaring. People were getting a great return on their equity. And now inventory is at, I think, 16 months of supply. And it all started last July because of Mayor Bisson. That's just called stupid. And to not retract the threat, it's crazy. Organizations like Lahaina Strong say they're for the local people. Well, the local people need jobs, right? That's how they pay their mortgage, or their rent, or put food on the table. Well, look at the numbers. Tourism is what pays the bills. If you don't know that, you're not very smart. And you shouldn't be making public commentary that could hurt the economy of the locals. You just shouldn't be allowed to do it, because it's not smart. It's bad business. But that's what they're doing. My handymen, my cleaners, they're hurting. And they're locals. That's where we started, by the way. There's the food land. Okay, so this would be some fresh territory you haven't seen yet. We're passing Papalau, coming up on Papalau. This is that shopping center that was shut down for a long time. It burned, of course. It's got the big anchor in the front there, you can see. This was my bank right here, First Hawaiian Bank on the corner. Everything in the safes, by the way, was completely decimated. The energy of this fire melted everything inside of safes. Cash burned up. Jewelry melted. This is the outlets right here. Was the outlets. Now it's just flat land. This was the Kaiser, I think, medical clinic right here. How we doing, guys? Hey, I don't know about you, but man, I'm sweating in this Lahaina sun. One of the reasons I did it today is we had a little reprieve. We had a little bit of, it actually rained in Lahaina today. We had some clouds, so it was nice. This was like a little strip mall there, office, little bar. This is the parking structure for the shops at Wailea. I mean, the shops at Wailea, the outlet shops. Oh man, shops at Wailea, where'd that come from? Freudian moment. This is some affordable housing that didn't burn. So this is not rebuilt, this is affordable housing. Same with these guys over here. Affordable housing, didn't burn. Some of them did, some of the buildings did. But now we'll cut down here. Coming up on the Channel House, Lahaina Residential. If you're just joining the live, thank you so much. Much aloha from the beautiful island of Maui. Mahalo nui loa for checking in. Hope you're having a wonderful Aloha Friday. Thanks for thumbing up the video, for sharing, subscribing, and in the comments section, what I'm asking everyone to do that watches this video, just real simple. Do you think, yes or no, this is reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time? This is where the Lutheran church was. I believe that's the rectory back there where the pastor lived. We gave $200,000. I should say you guys did, the most Aloha infused audience, $200,000 to this church right here. The actual church was located right here. You can still see the steps that lead up to the church right there. Wonderful pastor. Oceanfront homes right here. All these oceanfront homes. And I'm going to One of these, I don't know which one, is the one that the guy, he's the ex-Boeing CEO, just got lambasted by Lahaina Strong for trying to get a permit to rebuild his house. And they all showed up in mockery because he wanted to put a pool, because a pool is what? A pool takes up less water than the lawn. And there's no problem having a pool by the ocean. But these are all oceanfront homes that are obviously not being rebuilt right here. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with being an oceanfront homeowner. There's nothing wrong with being the ex-CEO of a huge company like Boeing. There's nothing wrong with being financially well off. You can't discriminate against people because they're financially well off. Just like you can't discriminate against people that are not financially well off. You just can't discriminate against people, period, whether they have assets or they don't have assets. Just stop. These are hardworking Americans that bought that land, that own it, it's deeded to them, and they earn the money. If you have a problem with that, take it up with your shrink. Take it up with God. But they have just as much of a right to be on this island as you do. Just as much. There's no difference. Sorry, but this whole privileged outlook. And the funny thing is, most of the quote-unquote locals, they're not even Hawaiian, man. They're like the famous bumper sticker. I'm 100%, 10% Hawaiian. You know, last time I checked, we took the United States, the continental United States, from the Indians, right? Hey, you know, that's what happened. Can't blame us. We're like a few generations separated from that. Kai Pauli Street, another beautiful, this is the access to Baby Beach, this little sidewalk. And these are all oceanfront homes. A couple of my clients right here, still not rebuilding. But to see this hatred towards people that own real estate, that have money, it's just BS, man. Last time I checked, they're footing the vast majority of the tax bill, right? Go just look at the tax bill, just look at the billion-dollar budget of Maui County, and you can see that it's these homeowners right here that are contributing huge amounts of money to that budget because of their property taxes, because of their GET, because of their TAT. They're taxpayers, their income tax. That's what gives the government the money. Hello? So to attack them is complete and utter stupidity. And I think that's really what we have in our country. We have a stupidity problem, honestly. Lahaina Front Street Apartments, right here, Front Street. This is where Daniel was supposed to live. Matter of fact, shout out real quick, I'll get off the old soapbox here. He was supposed to be right there. His apartment would have been right there. That's where Daniel would be, and he's blind. So this would give him access to an area as a blind person he'd be very familiar with. He could take his cane and walk right down there and sit on the ocean wall and have a life and talk to people, and he likes to weave stuff. But guess what? That didn't happen for him because of the fire. So now he's in a residential neighborhood, has no social contact. He's by a busy road with Jake brakes going by him. And when you're blind, apparently your hearing becomes very sensitive. So every time a Jake brake goes by or someone does something in a car, it honks, just kind of scares him, being honest. So helpdaniel.org, if you don't mind, helpdaniel.org. And we're going to finish this tour going into Kahoma Village, because we're not going to forget about Kahoma Village. Now the dojo over here did burn. I think I can make my way down there. So maybe we'll end at the dojo, but first we'll go into Kahoma Village. You can see what's going on there. But in the comments, if anything resonated with you about what I said, about locals giving stink eye and, hey brah, a bunch of problems to people that have money, that own real estate, what do you think about that? And they pay taxes. And they're getting hassled. Last time I checked, I could be crazy on this, Hawaii is part of the United States. And we are American citizens. And this is US soil. And Americans bled at Pearl Harbor from all nationalities. Last time I checked, that's where I'm at right now. And one of the reasons I live here is specifically because this is US soil. That's the reason I don't live in the Philippines, the reason I don't live in Costa Rica, there's a reason I don't live in Canada, there's a reason I don't live like an expatriate, because I love my country and I want to be at home in my country. And this is Last time I checked, right? The United States of America, right here. That's a fact. And as such, we have this thing called rule of law, and it should be 100% in effect. And nobody should be able to skirt it. And there should be accountability for people that do. And if procedures were not followed during the most deadly wildfire in U.S. history, in modern time, then there should be responsibility and accountability for that. So where's it at? Tulsi. Okay, here we go. We have some rebuild. These are the ones that burned. Now, all of Kahoma Village would have burned if it wasn't for the water truck guy. The water truck guy with Truth Excavation, this is the story I heard, was trying to protect his home in Kahoma Village. So he was in here with the water truck doing what the firemen apparently couldn't do for whatever reason. And he saved Kahoma Village. But these center ones burned. And why is it that the center ones caught on fire? If the fire was out there somewhere, oh, it was one of those, those things that fly through the air. It catches everything on fire. Steel buildings. No grass huts, of course. If you're a grass hut, you're fine. But if you're a steel building, or if you're a building in the middle of a massive neighborhood that's not on fire, then one of those embers catches everything on fire. Just FYI. But the only reason that this whole neighborhood didn't burn, in my opinion, is because there was a guy in here with a water truck. So many neighborhoods and homes were saved by Truth Excavation guys with the water trucks because they had water. Let's just review real quick. Lahaina fire, we had no water in the fire hydrants. Wow. There was no sirens that went off. There was no text messages that warned anybody. There was nobody running around evacuating anybody. And the police were barricading everybody into the town. Yeah, let's just review some of the beautiful historical facts of the Lahaina fire. And because there was no firefighting happening, it was guys like Truth Excavation that saved, I believe, this neighborhood right here. So this is Kahoma Village, as you can see, beautiful little neighborhood. So thankful that it's still here. All these homes were saved, I believe, because of one water truck. So thank you to whoever that was. Again, these are stories. There's so many stories. Enough to probably fill an encyclopedia. A very sad book it would be, of course. But there are stories of heroes. Okay, we're gonna finish up with a quick shot down to Baby Beach because my feet are asleep. My knees are starting to wobble a little bit. In the comment section, again, if you're just joining, what you've seen so far in this video, do you believe it is reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time for the rebuilding of this town? Is it reasonable progress in reasonable time? The reason I keep saying that is something my dad taught me. He said, son, when you're given a job to do, you got to make reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time. And if you don't, you're probably going to get fired. And the best thing to do is to be ahead of schedule. The best thing to do is to deliver above and beyond what you've been asked, to over-deliver, right? Under-promise, over-deliver. But the question you have to always ask yourself is it reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time? And the same thing is when you're scrutinizing other people's work. You can be a jerk because you're not being reasonable. So I always use that measurement. Reasonable amount of progress in a reasonable amount of time. And so I'm just putting that ruler on this particular situation here. Is it reasonable? Okay, so this is the Waitemala ramp. Good scuba diving spot, by the way. And this was the first house we almost rented when we moved here, but we didn't. We got the one on Front Street. But I really wanted this one, but the wife said it's too small. It's like, but honey, it's right by the best scuba diving on Maui and the beach, Baby Beach. That didn't hold any water with her. She's like, no, we have 4 kids, honey. I was under the ether of Maui. You know what I'm talking about, right? The ether of Maui. All right, so here we are. This is the dojo. Lahaina Jodo, excuse me, the dojo. I'm going back to my kids being in, what you call it, martial arts. So this is Lahaina Jodo Mission right here. Obviously this place unfortunately did burn. The Buddha is still there, which we'll get a shot of here in a moment. Much respect to my Buddhist brothers and sisters. And this is a little public parking area here you probably didn't know about, would be my guess. Oh, okay. Look at that. Got some bikes. Can't really get too close to the Buddha, but I'll show you what I got right there. You can still see the Jodo right there. And then we'll just pop out to the beach real quick and just let you take a look around. And this obviously is some sacred ground over here, graveyard, the Pu'upia Cemetery. But maybe we can end on a bit of a positive note. Again, if you're just joining the live, thank you so much. Much aloha. In the comment section, let us know if what you've seen in this video, if you go back and watch it, is reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time after 647 days from the Lahaina fire. Okay, here we go. Just a quick jaunt. And then I'm gonna take a little rest. I gotta go take Hunter mountain biking, so. All right, here we are. Baby Beach. Oh. Beautiful island of Lanai. Over there we have Molokai shrouded in some clouds. And the beautiful but destroyed Mala Ramp. And a lot of beautiful art pictures. Off in the distance, Ka'anapali. All right, guys. Well, hey, it has been fantastic. Over an hour live. Thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. Thank you for participating. Thank you for sharing. After the fire, we'd have probably had 30,000 people watching this live. Now we've got about 300. So there's proof. I've got 225,000 subscribers. And the shadow ban is real. So I appreciate you guys doing what you can to share this video. Thumb up, shaka, subscribe, comment, yes or no. Reasonable progress in a reasonable period of time. Share it on your X, share it on your Twitter. Say something to Trump, say something to Tulsi. Say, hey man, let's go. Let's get a change of guard for the government here, right? I don't care. Red, blue, left, center, whatever. We just need some new people because I think they demonstrated a lot of incompetency during that fire. And maybe we can get the federal government, now that we've got some, I think, some good leadership, to come down here and help us out. Get these businesses back in business, get these oceanfront homes rebuilt, get the businesses rebuilt, the ones on the water specifically. In my humble opinion, there's a way you could make this thing amazing. It could be just beautiful. Look at what the Arabs do in their country in the ocean. It's unbelievable. Here we cry like, oh, we got to protect the ocean and all that. Well, sure. Well, last time I checked, they already killed the reefs out here, man. So Maui County has not done a good job preserving this reef. So we need to preserve the livelihood of people that live here and reinstate what they lost, make them whole, and quit making them go through all this horrendous government red tape and do something that makes sense. So if you agree with that, please let me know. And any suggestions or comments that you have that you think would be helpful, please leave that in the comment section. And please say a prayer for Daniel. If you could just go to helpdaniel.org, helpdaniel.org. He's a wonderful guy, fire survivor, totally blind, and he's about to lose his FEMA house. We're trying to raise a little bit of money for him. And thank you so much, by the way. A couple reached out that has some land in Olinda. He's going to meet him this weekend. There's a chance they might let him camp on their property if he does get displaced. We've got an RV ready for him. But thank you so much. Again, the most aloha infused audience comes through every single time. I really appreciate you guys so much, and so does Daniel. And I'm glad I've had this opportunity to kind of update you. Sorry I've been kind of radio silent lately. I've just been kind of just working and just doing my thing and spending some time with the boys and Lisa and getting my voice very hoarse. Don't know where this came from, but it's all good. All right, guys, much aloha. Don't forget to come to Maui, no matter what. And oh yeah, who can help us with this stupid vacation rental ban threat? Ridiculous. I think they're going to completely get rid of it, but I think there's some kind of event coming up here late May that you can maybe give some testimony. Not that that matters, because the government listens to what all the people say and then they do exactly what they want to do anyway. But it still might be worth it. I don't know. So, oh, you know what? We didn't hit the north end of Front Street, Lahaina roads and all that, but we'll do that next time. Kind of getting hot. I need some water. Thank you so much. If you're coming to Maui, please let me know. I'd love to shake your hand, give you a high five, throw you a shaka, and meet you in person. Okay, until next time, Eric West out. Maui Dan, always thinking about you, bro. Always. I'm glad Jack Frost finally left Wyoming. Come to Maui soon, bro. Yes, sir.